Grand whatever, plebeians, party people, and they mamas. We have 30 minutes on the clockina, and I'm going to keep that right there because then we can all see it. But inshallah, you guys will be able to see everything in a good way and hear everything in a good way because I am using my dad's phone for the first time. And I think this is a very old phone, and I typically record on an iPhone 14, which is pretty old, especially because it's on iOS 18 and I think we're on iOS 26. But thankfully, we have the clockina. We also have my new tripod, thanks to my partner. Shout out, Zach. We have the journal like we've had for quite some time. I will admit, this is my second attempt at trying to record episode 55 titled Rainbows, which will be posted on June 22nd, 2026. This is my second time trying to record on June 8th, 2026, which is the day that episode 53 is posted, which means I've already recorded episode 54. If you guys have not watched episode 54, then you guys did not know that. But to catch you guys up, I did my henna. Thank you guys very much for enjoying that. I also enjoyed very much. I know it's just a lot of silly things, but my mom did some designs and had some left over. She also got me this necklace, a Ramadan reminder, an Eid necklace she got me for last Eid, whereas this Eid I unfortunately did not get to celebrate with my family because I was in New York, but my mother did give me an Eid, which was very kind of her. And I used that Eid to buy 2 rings. An Eid is basically like a Christmas gift if you guys are not aware of what the Islam culture participates in, what Muslims participate in. But apparently, in this little glass crystal, you have the entirety of the Quran written in it, which is insane to me. It's amazing. Again, this is episode 55, which is going to be posted on June 22nd, 2026. And before we jump into it, I want to thank you guys for being here and pushing me to stay consistent. Otherwise, we would not have gotten every single episode being posted every single Monday. And now we're at the point where every single episode is basically being posted on 12 p.m. at 12 p.m. Not basically, it's quite literally being posted at 12 p.m. every single Monday. So now we've gotten some sort of consistency, and I apologize that it only took me literally a year plus, but now we're working towards the second year of the project, and that's incredible. Also, the reason I do this project is for the gays, for anyone that is different, for anyone who is watching, for anyone who wants to make a podcast in the first place, because I have the time to do this right now, and I'm really grateful for that. And if I was not able to have the time to do this, then I would not be able to use an hour back to back to focus on my project. But here we are talking about the same things that I literally just sat down and talked about, but then my phone overheated, had way too much storage, and it's so silly because it literally had enough storage to record more than 30 minutes of a video, but at nearly 25 minutes, it said that I had full storage, and I went to go check why, and it's because now my system data is taking up 58 gigabytes of space. 58 GBs. What is the system data doing? How can I even upgrade to iOS 19 or anything different if I don't even have the gigabytes to do that? And then they keep taking the gigabytes. I had 48 gigabytes of system data, and then all of a sudden, in just a couple of months, it's 58 gigabytes of data, so I can't even record my podcast. But thank God my dad is providing me his old phone because he has a lot of gigabytes. He doesn't take as many pictures or videos like I do, which is honestly sad to me because he used to take a lot of videos. But anyway, and pictures. But let's get into it. So first off, we don't want rainbow capitalism. What is that? Let me explain. So first off, I want to say that the Pride Parade was supposed to be on June 6th, 2026 in Houston, Texas, whereas it is typically near the end of June. First off, I don't mind this, but I would have appreciated some sort of acknowledgement. I don't think like many people could have reached out to me specifically and been like, hey, by the way, the Pride Parade is on this specific date. But again, it would have been nice. I don't know what I'm expecting, but it is nice that a lot of my gay friends are more prominent people in the scene these days. So Houston is uplifting them and their voices because that's the energy of this podcast too, right? But also, again, like I feel like it being in the beginning of the month makes it more difficult for more people to show up. And also, it got rained out. So now they're saying that it's going to be somewhere between July 19th through October 4th, which is a wide variety of time, in my opinion. Also, I understand that they're pushing it until later because of the World Cup, because the next couple of weeks are going to be fulfilled with that timing and energy. But again, I know that like we have only so much energy to do so many things, and they don't want to take away the energy from FIFA, but like imagine doing both at once. Like we can celebrate multiple things at once. And honestly, it quite upsets me that we can't celebrate Pride during Pride Month. And did they ask gay people how they felt about that? Also, like, it was planned so poorly and people lost money on that, Like, they're showing up to this event and then they're getting rained out, or then they're feeling like they're not having the time that they wanted to have. Some people probably were flying into Houston during that day and didn't know what else to do and found themselves at the Pride Parade having a terrible time. So again, I'm not saying that rainbow capitalism is that. I'm saying rainbow capitalism is the fact that you go to the Pride Parade and then you get a free Pride flag, like a rainbow flag, and then the flag is got the Shell logo on it. Then you got gas stations and these big terrible corporations that hate gay people on the floats. And you're like, what is all this business? You see like Nike with their like I don't know. I don't know if these are like gay friendly like corporations, but again, I think a corporation is a corporation at the end of the day. We have like 2% of the population that's gay, 2% of the population that's ginger. Imagine the percent of the population that's gay and ginger. Anyway, my point is that this is not the way to make a buck. You can't use gay people. That seems like slavery, and we have wage slavery anyway. Like that's too much bad energy. Anyway, let's get into the colors. Red, red. For the blood we pour, for the cherry-stained lips. I want to start off by talking about red is the color of romance. It's the color of the carpets that the celebrities walk on. It's the color of love and lust. It's the reminder that there are things that we should admire and look up to, things that we should be motivated by and inspired by creatively. Red is the lipstick that people wear that reminds you, again, of the cherry-stained lips, of the wine that you kiss, of the different tastes and smells of your lover that all remind you that you love them. It's of the bleeding, beating heart. It's of the fact that we are all the same on the inside. I know we hear this time and again, but I will remind you until the end, because red is the color where it begins. It's one part of the rainbow, one part of the spectrum. And then we move into orange, like the hydrating fruits, the hue of blush on dark-toned skin. I know we have things that are natural and unnatural, and I know that the makeup that gets on those skins is not always the most natural, but for some reason, even though that orange hue is not meant to be on that skin, you see red more often, or pink tones as well. The orange on that dark toned skin, on my skin, when I see orange on my skin, I love it. It looks natural. It looks like it's supposed to be there. It makes me feel happy and joyous. When I drink orange juice, I am reminded that we deserve to release our stress. When we have vitamin C from the fruit, naranja, we can get rid of our sicknesses. Orange reminds us that everything again is life and death, and we can elongate our lives, and we deserve to. Orange is the color of the cones, the traffic cones that stop us, that tell us that there is a warning. Again, orange is natural and unnatural, just like every other color of the spectrum. And as we move into yellow for the sun and the cheese, which fills the charcuterie boards, we are reminded again that everything is life and death, with the fact that our star shines this light on us temporarily, and I say temporarily even though for us it is always. One day, this sun will cease to exist, and then everything as we know it will cease to exist, but something somewhere will remember this longer than we can even remember. And I think that is the color yellow. Even though the sun is not yellow, you cannot look directly in it, you cannot even tell me what is that color exactly. There are yellows around the sun in the sky when it's sunset and sunlight during the dawn and the dusk. You have the yellows of the cheeses, the yellows that change again from natural to unnatural, from the cows that are not yellow, and then their cheese that is yellow, and then other animals and their cheese is not yellow. And then you have manufactured cheese for vegans that's yellow again, and then you have yellow food coloring, orange food coloring, red food coloring. You have all of the different food colorings. You have orange that's created by red and yellow. You have all of these beautiful things that are connected, just like life. And that's the point. And for some reason, I have in parentheses kink, because I want to remind us of the things that we do not want to remember sometimes, like golden showers. And again, that's in yellow. And again, we can love all of these things. Some things are things that people don't always love, and not everyone is gay. Not everyone loves gay people, even if love is love and people are allowed to love. That's the same with the reminder of the things that are in colors. The things that you hate are the things that you love, and the things that you love are the things that you hate. And if you don't realize that they're the same sides of both coins, it's okay. But if you don't admit that you have some sort of evil in your body, in my opinion, it's going to seep out elsewhere, and it's okay to be okay. It's okay to be like, I'm not okay, but that's okay. And that's in these colors, in my opinion, in the way that the color green moves from yellow. We have the color in limes. We have the color in grass, in the beauty of weeds and trees. You have green in nature. You have green when you lay down and you look at the sky and there's leaves that are penetrating. The colors of the leaves change in the fall from green to orange to yellow to red. The way that this happens, just like the changes of all of the colors on the spectrum. And then you have all of the different greens. When you go and you camp, or when you go on a road trip, you see all of the different trees and how they hold the green differently. And it's beautiful. And all of the things, the weeds that can be harmful, invasive, that can also be disgusting. You know, there's green in vomit sometimes. There's green in money. And it can be disgusting to be greedy. But that gets us into blue. And just like every color comes into each other, green is reminded of blue with yellow. And the blue skies and the water and the blue jays as birds and the berries, the blueberries and your eyes, blue eyes. We have blue in nature everywhere, yet somehow blue feels so rare. Other colors feel more abundant. Green is everywhere. But here's the thing, blue is still there. Blue is seen, blue is loved. I love blue so much. Blue reminds me of good times and bad. Blue reminds me that I have been feeling blue sometimes. I have been depressed, and that's okay. Blue reminds me of emotions. Blue reminds me that colors are not only things that we paint with. Blue reminds me that colors are also things that we feel and that we see and that we taste and that we smell and that we hear. Blue is all of the senses coming together. Blue is the reminder of why we are artists. Blue reminds us of the purples that mix in with the reds that create indigos and violets and lavenders, which brings us to the next color, that brings us to flowers and petals and unnatural dyed hairs, just like blue. Purple can also be natural or unnatural too. You can crush the leaves of the flowers to create a paint. Do people even realize that you can just take a flower and rub it on a piece of paper and get a sort of color? Will that change? I don't know. It probably may, but if you do it in the right way, it can probably stay. But I want to say that rainbows are for everyone, but mostly for gay people. LOL. And I put those in parentheses because now we've gone through all the colors, and you guys, I think, understand me a little bit deeper. You guys understand that all of these colors mean something individually and to each other relationally. They mean something as a group, and they mean something in pairs and triplets and quadruplets. They mean something when there's even deeper colors like teal and magenta and the colors that we haven't even mentioned, brown, black, white, gray. When we think about the capitalistic society, unfortunately, that takes away our childlike whimsy from the rainbows that we see, when they create grayscale, black and white gradients, you get angry and sad, and you feel like it's been an unfortunate removal of your childhood and that the future doesn't have that. I want to specifically talk about the Katie Mills Mall, how they used to have a very 80s and 90s funky glow about it, but then Simon took over. And if you guys don't know who Simon is, you're about to find out. And if you live in Houston, you especially should know who Simon is. And if you live in Texas and you guys may have heard of this, or you guys know what I'm talking about after I finish talking about it, then write it down in the comments so I'm able to understand if Simon is doing more damage to the cities than we know. What I know is that recently, maybe in the last decade, which is actually not that recent, Simon took over the Katie Mills Mall, which again used to have a very 80s, 90s feel to it. Again, Simon Mall also owns the Galleria, Memorial Mall, First Colony Mall, and other malls amongst Texas that I may not have mentioned, but I'm sure I would recognize if you have mentioned it. But here's the thing. They take the mall, they make it gray, they make it boring. People still go to these malls. They have no other choice. There's nothing else as an option as a mall. But here's again the thing. If I want to go to a mall, why can't I have it as pretty? And why did they take away all of the pretty decorations? And where did they put the pretty decorations? And then you see things like Eighth Wonder and different dispensaries, or not dispensaries, are they called dispensaries? Breweries. I mean, maybe that's the same thing, but a brewery, you know, like Eighth Wonder. And why are breweries in Houston evading me right now? But I think they're evading me, unfortunately, because they're going out of business. Like, Eighth Wonder had these huge Beatles statues, and I wanted to show my partner them, actually, so we went to that area, and just a couple months before that, like in August of 2025, I know I had seen them, but apparently just a couple months after that, after I'd seen them, Eighth Wonder unfortunately sold their huge Beatles statues to this car dealership somewhere in Houston, because the car dealership is making a lot of money because people obviously need cars. But like, here's the thing, people need entertainment as well. But we're in a war, and that sucks. But that's the thing, rainbows are for all of us, and I want to remind you guys of that. And I want to finish off with that. And I joke when I say that it's mostly for gay people, because yeah, I mean, like, I know that we use that as our pride flag, and there's other pride flags available, like for lesbians, non-binary people, trans people, etc., bisexual people, right? But here's again the thing. If you're straight, if you're cis, whatever you are, you're allowed to use the rainbow flag. If you want to get married and you want to make it a rainbow wedding, the more the merrier. Do what you want. It's just colors. You know, a lot of people say like, oh, but it's for the gays. You know, well, if you are a liberal saying that, I don't know what's wrong with you. And if you're a Republican saying that, you're falling into the stereotype, honey. Like, maybe don't do that. So yeah, hopefully you know that I'm joking when I say that it's mostly for gay people, but like also maybe gay people, like let gay people have something, you know? Again, we're not even being able to be celebrated in the month of Pride. If you guys can't see, like, I don't want to have anger for the most of this project. I want this project, yes, to have some sort of complaining, because we need a container and a platform to bring these products to the uprising, to the revolution, you know? Again, I bring many different people of many different walks of life onto my interviews as guests. As the host, I uplift these voices because it's important to have different people of all different colors, types of people, you know, like a plethora of different energies, to be reminded of who these artists are, who not just Texas has, but like the world has, because you don't have to just be in Texas to enjoy these artists and be a fan of them and to understand what they're doing in this state. And also, Texas has gay people and we're thriving. I want to remind people that we want people that are gay to come to Texas, and we want more gay people to come out into Texas. We want people that are gay to be openly speaking out about this, and we need things to change in the school systems, because teachers should be able to use preferred pronouns for students, for children. Children should be able to use their preferred names. They should not be forced. and subjugated. I think that's the right word that I'm looking for. Subjected to using their dead names. That is so transphobic and bigoted. And again, I understand that we live in a red state, but let's change that. Let's flip that. Let's stay angry. But also, while I'm angry, I'm also looking at the bright side and being beautiful. I attempt to bring poetry to the space. That's, again, another big point of this project. I was coughing a lot and drinking a lot of water in the last time that I recorded this. And honestly, I'm feeling very grateful that we've reached about 20 minutes at this point with all of our points talked about. But again, there's other things that I want to bring up before we get off this table right now. But I'm, again, just very grateful for the fact that this energy is where it's at. And I know that I would not be able to do that without all of these gay people, without all of these, whoever you are watching this right now. But it's Pride Month right now. And again, let us have something. And again, I was in a relationship before this podcast was being taken place where I was basically volunteering to be the videographer, the camera guy for my ex. And my ex had his cousin as well as someone who was working with him. And if you guys know anything about this project, I am the only one recording, posting, editing, everything. I don't edit my videos. And again, I'm grateful that I'm having another chance at recording this because I was drinking a lot of water and coughing a lot, and it makes me feel embarrassed. And I was talking about that on the project, but it made me feel better after I talked about it a little bit because I gave myself grace. And here's the thing, like, yeah, I have a raw, unedited filter on this project. Like, there's no filter at all, right? But that's the thing, like, I have this project, I have this platform because of who came before me, and I don't want to forget that. And yeah, my ex, I don't want to say, but unfortunately did not consider himself queer, which is actually the reason that we broke up, which is a very gay pride thing to do, and I'm very proud of myself for that because I've been gay since I was 12. If you guys have not seen the last couple of episodes, then you guys don't know that, but that's the thing. If you guys have been watching for this entire time, then you guys know like how I've been able to maintain this Monday posting schedule. You know, now I've gotten to the point where I am recording weeks in advance and I have the energy to do so. I honestly didn't know if I was going to be able to record this video immediately after struggling with my phone, you know, but again, I'm proud of myself for coming back and showing up for you guys, because again, I do this for you guys. If I didn't have an audience, if I didn't have my 235 subscribers and growing, I would not be here. If I didn't have my like 6 or so likes that I get every single week, you know, thank you guys for liking, thank you guys for commenting, thank you guys for sharing, thank you guys for telling me about your family members, your coworkers, your random friends. Like, I want you guys to share this with random friends. I say that I feel like a lot, but I'm continuously saying that. Like, we're working towards 2 years of this project, and I want to bring more voices on this project. I wanted to have more interviews up until this point, but I'm proud of what I've created, and I want to be proud for a long time, and I want you guys to be proud of what you guys create. And I say that because anyone can create a podcast, and I want people to create podcasts. I want people to make music and make art and share it with me and tell me why I should interview them, and so on and so forth. Next week, we get to be talking about pangender, which is the last episode of Pride Month. And then last week, we just posted the community, which actually has not been posted when I'm recording this. But again, the fact that it's already recorded and we're recording the next week, and I already know who my interview is going to be with, and we have the dates planned, like, I can relax at this point. Like, I can keep recording and posting and doing whatnot and what forth, right? And that's the thing. We will keep going, and that's going to be beautiful. I honestly don't know what else to say for these last couple of minutes. It's actually crazy to me that I reached 27 minutes in the last time I tried to record this, and then my phone fell apart, and now I'm just barely at 24 minutes. But I think that's because I was again coughing and drinking a lot of water, and that took up some time from my episode. But I do want to say, like, again, I'm grateful that I'm getting to talk about like identity politics, you know, even though identity politics can be annoying and it can cause problems in the community. Like, next week I get to go more into in depth with who I am and why I am who I am and what made me this way and so on and so forth, and I get to be more individualistic. And then last week, you know, I got to talk about the community. I got to be more special on like what has been going on that's wrong and right. And this week, you know, we're kind of talking about capitalism and how it's taken over, how it always takes over. And then the first time that we did not have an interview, but we got to talk during Pride Month. We got to talk about gay, and that was also awesome because, again, it's, I think, a simple introduction to Pride Month. And last month, or sorry, not last month, last year during Pride Month, we were also posting videos, but it was also the first month I had ever posted videos at all. So it was like, yeah, I could be talking about gay stuff here and there, and yeah, you could be feeling good about supporting a gay creator, but it's like at the end of the day, I had to go more in depth with my conversations so you guys could understand more about me being gay. And I still feel like you guys are only getting a surface level understanding. Like there's an entire universe to go into with gay, and I'm excited to explore that with you because it may not happen now, it may happen next year, and whenever it does happen, it will be a good time, and I'm excited for it. I also want to thank Jean Sandoval again for being the podcast of the month because we can focus on gay creators, non-binary, trans individuals, and it's important to me to again have different people of all sorts of walks of life. And Jean is a beautiful individual in the community at the Box 13 studio spaces. To be a studio space member is already incredible. And then they have painted for many different organizations, and they painted for themselves, and they've done gallery paintings themselves as well. And we talked about artistry and the world and fine arts, and we talked about so many different things. Honestly, it's kind of evading me right now, but safe spaces, their career. We obviously did the 3 questions that we ask everyone. And that takes me to next month. I again want to focus on it being Pride Month, but I will take away that ideology, that energy for a second, just to hopefully encourage you guys to stay tuned for Angela Stone's podcast interview that will be posted on July 6th, the first Monday of July, and I'm so excited to sit down and have a conversation with her because she is an incredible artist and a musician again, like I said. I have wonderful people that I surround myself with. Angela is also a mother, and I want to say that I first met her at Defiant Darius's music video, and that's amazing because I had no idea that I would one day interview her. I had a feeling I would one day interview Darius because Darius and I have been friends since college, but Angela is a wonderful voice. She's just an incredibly beautiful person. Like, again, I'm so excited for that recording, and I can't wait to see how that goes. And I can't wait for the questions because I feel like it's very Angela specific, and that's a lot to dig into. But again, she's not a queer creator. That's okay. She doesn't need to be. But right now we're focusing on queer topics. So I just want to say before I get off, because we just have a couple minutes left, we are going on a longer video than I did on my iPhone. So congratulations to all of us for having enough storage. Second off, I want to say again, love is love. That's so beautiful. Thank you guys for staying here with me through this podcast to talk about all of these different things, especially since today has kind of been like a roller coaster. I feel like it's been like black and white, which is so strange because we're literally talking about the rainbow and colors. But I think you guys know, maybe more so when I explain it, that I'm talking about like black and white emotionally. Like initially we were talking about some dark things, and maybe we touched on those dark things later on in the podcast as well. But in the middle, we talked on some beautiful things and those colors. And we're reminded, even though we're not on the patio today, that the process, the heart of this podcast is the poetry on the patio with Pleiades. So even if maybe my words or the context of this project, of this episode specifically today, doesn't make sense, maybe it's not supposed to make sense. You know, there's a bigger picture going on here. We're trying to create content for a lifetime. I want you guys to remember that these moments existed and that we will never be able to get these minutes back. And that's okay. You know, like these minutes are cemented in my life as moments that I sat behind a camera and recorded something for my YouTube. And that cements the fact that for more than a year, I posted every single week on every single Monday a YouTube video, which makes me a YouTuber. And again, you guys can do this as well. I want you guys to do this. I want to remind you all again that love is love. And because love is love, I am so grateful to have my partner in my life. At the time that this video will be posted, this will be our 7-month anniversary. And I'm so grateful because in 7 months, I feel like we've been able to get to know each other in a way that's different than any partner and I have ever gotten to know each other. Ooh, sorry, I'm like a little tense. No shade to any of my past partners. Some shade to some of my past partners, though. But, they just didn't have as many capabilities. And that's very hard when two people are struggling to work together. I want love to be love, and I want that to be the reminder forever. And I want to be grateful towards my partner more so than anything. That's 30 minutes on the clock, Hina. Again, I wanted to remind y'all about my love for my partner. Love is love. I want to remind y'all of my love for my friends. Oh my god, I'm getting to the coughing fit points. Oh no. So, on these last couple of seconds, before I go into full coughing fit because I've been talking for way too long, I want to say thank you guys again for being here as always. Thank you guys for being my community. Thank you guys for being gay or straight or bi or whatever you guys are. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for listening to yourself and your intuitions. Always listen to your intuitions. Support yourselves. Support your projects. Stand up for yourself. Clean your bed. Wash your sheets. Brush your teeth. Drink water. Eat healthy foods. Read a book. Engage in your hobbies. Go skating if it's safe. Get a surgery if you need it. Pay for your dental health. Go to a dentist. I love you so much. And with all of that, thank you. And until next time, much love, my plebeians. Bye-bye.